I've been going to the gym for just over 3 years now, and I can tell you, as someone that's experienced, that turning up, just showing up, is not enough anymore. Let me just move you down a bit, bro. Turning up is not enough anymore. For me to build a physique that I have built, as an 18-year-old, just showing up, just going through the motions, doing your exercises is not enough anymore. You've been going to the gym for a couple of weeks now, a couple of months even. Just showing up isn't enough anymore. You need to genuinely improve your game, whether that will be inside the gym with like form, intensity, perfecting your workout routine for optimization and enjoyment, whether it's outside the gym, whether it's sleep optimization, nutrition optimization, whether it's getting enough hydration, whether it's taking enough supplements. Improve some area of your fitness journey. Just showing up isn't enough anymore. Recently I did this. I just started taking pre-workout, and that's improved my workout sessions drastically. I feel so much more energized. I feel so much more at a good arousal level, at the correct emotional frequency because of it. And that's improved my fitness journey recently. Now, something that will improve my fitness journey may not improve yours. Remember, I'm more advanced than you, so I'm not going to be like, yes, everyone should take pre-workout. Take pre-workout if you want it. It works for me. It gets me in the right emotional frequency. Will it work for you? Who knows? But these are some improvements that you can make as a new lifter that I know will get you to the places that you want to get to. If you want a fast track way of building the best physique that you ever want to get, first link in the description is my course where I'll show you how to make a great physique, from the training workout routines to form to diet to extra hypertrophy tips. Everything is in there, absolutely everything. It's the best product I've ever made if you want to make a great physique. Top link in the description. First of all, we want to talk about intensity and rep ranges. I want to get this through your head right now. Building muscle is excruciatingly painful. And most likely, if you're going to the gym, especially as a beginner, you're not training hard enough. It is that simple. You're not training hard enough. Most people go to the gym, and I used to do this as well. Like, it'd burn a little bit, and I'd just stop when it burned. I used to be such a bitch about it. Such a bitch. I was like, oh, it hurts now, so I kind of have to put the weight down. I don't want to carry on doing it. It's painful. But building muscle and achieving that extra rep at intensity till failure is excruciatingly painful. You have to make weird noises and like faces. And I remember going to the gym with this girl when I was in year 11. So if you don't know, if you're not from the UK, year 11 is about 16 years old. She literally wouldn't train hard and I asked her one day, I was like, why don't you, like, you can definitely get more reps in there. Like, every time I'd force her and, like, I'd be like, come on, let's get another rep, and I'd help her along and like help with like partials, etc. She'd always get 5, 6, 7 more reps than what she would usually get in a regular set. And I was like, come on, you can do so much more than that. Like, why aren't you pushing yourself hard enough? Her answer genuinely made me laugh, bro. She's like, yeah, I don't like putting silly faces in the gym. What? You'll sacrifice your own gains. You'll sacrifice your progress as a human being towards looking better, which upgrades every single area of your life, may I add, by the way. Like, I'm happier internally and I get more respect externally from literally every single person I've ever met because of this journey, right? And you're not going to make gains because your face looks a bit weird and you're scared someone might say something. I'm going to get this on my chest right now, especially as a man, right? You don't fucking matter what you look like. You make stupid faces, you make stupid noises. Obviously, don't go over the top. Like, there was this old man that used to go to my gym and he used to, like, scream out. He used to, like, do sets with, like, tiny weights and he'd, like, go, like that. Like, really loud across the gym. And we'd be like, what the fuck? And we'd almost be laughing right next to him and stuff like that. So don't go over the top. But if you have to make like a little grunt, or you have to make like some stupid face like you're getting up and it's just like you have to make a stupid face like that, so be it. You need to train hard enough, and then things are going to happen when you're pushing your central nervous system and your muscles to that limit. That is going to happen, so you need to not be afraid of that. And the way you do that is train until failure. And what does this mean? Failure means train until you cannot get another rep without form breaking down. So if you're doing a set of chest, for example, you literally just can't get the weight back up. Or if you can get the weight back up, you're like literally humping the air, like your legs are in the air. It's just not correct form. That's training till failure. And I honestly think every set as a beginner should be till failure. Some people will argue oh, train reps in reserve, etc. I don't like this because of two reasons. One, it's so much easier to track progressive overload when you're training to failure. Just simply because you know as hard as you can, that's how many reps you've got, and then you just have to try and get more reps in that every single week. I think that's so much more simpler than you trying to guess how to get like reps in reserve, and most of you don't even know what reps in reserve is. Basically, most of you trying to guess like where to leave a set where you've got 2 reps left in reserve, so you can probably do 2 more reps at that rate in that set till failure, but you're going to stop 2 reps shy and then try and progressively overload that the next week. It's all just too complicated for me, especially when most people don't even know what reps in reserve are. And the second reason is it's really difficult to tell how many reps you've got left in reserve. There was a study that they did, and it found out that on most people, especially beginner lifters as well, the majority of people, if they were to guess their reps in reserve, so reps in reserve is just how many reps you reckon you have left before you achieve failure, which we said before was like not being able to get another rep. Most people guessed 5 on average, 5 reps below how many reps they actually had left. So in actuality, someone would think they have 2 reps left in reserve before they hit failure. In actuality, they have 7. Do you see how it's difficult to quantify? And I don't want to overcomplicate the gym journey for you. Just stick to train till failure and just try and beat your score from last week. Progressively overload and be like, right, train till failure last week. I got 60 kg on bench press for 8 reps. Now let's go for 9. Let's see if you can get 9 or 10, etc, etc. And then now you're wondering, all right, how many reps should I do then? Like, I see all these things around online. Like, I know I have to train till failure, but how many reps does that quantify? And I always say never use a specific number. I like the term rep ranges, and we'll go through this now. If you just use a single number and you say, all right, I'll get this for 12 reps, you see how that's instantly not training till failure, because obviously you're going to pick a number that you know you can achieve. And what if you get to the 10th, 11th rep and it's still quite movable? You're not training till failure that way if you pick a specific number. Whereas if you have a weight that you can hit for a specific rep range, like maybe 8 to 12 reps, and let's say you think, right, I could probably get this for like maybe 8 or 9 reps. So let's pick the rep range 8 to 12, and let's see how many reps you get. Then you push to absolute failure and you realise, oh shit, I'm stronger than I thought. I actually got 10 reps instead of 8 that I thought I would get. But you're still in that rep range, which is great. And then the next week you go, all right, let's go for 11. Get 11. The week after, right, let's go for 12. You get 12 reps on that 60 kg bench press. Let's say you get 12 reps. When you reach the top of the rep range now, that's when you know to increase the weight. Most people, when they train with a specific number, like 3 times 12, like 3 sets of 12, they don't know when they should increase the weight because they're not training till failure, so they don't know when to upgrade, you know? Whereas in this way, when you just reach the top of the rep range, when you're always training till failure, you know when to increase the weight. So when you've got 12 reps of your rep range, and you're like, right, instead of 60 kg, let's move up to 65 kg. And then you'll do a set of 65 kg and realize, oh, I can only get 8 or 9 reps of this. And then over a few weeks, you go from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. And then again, you go from 65 kg to a 70 kg bench press. And you see how now progressively overload comes so much more simpler. So much more simpler. Because now you know you're training to failure every set, so you're training hard enough with intensity. You know exactly when to improve your weight, increase your weight, and progressively overload in the correct way. You now know how many reps you're going to get because you have these rep ranges instead of set numbers. You're not worrying about reps in reserve because you don't even know what they fucking mean because you're just training to failure. And it just makes the journey so much easier when that's all you've got to think about. Beating your score and then upgrading it when you find the time. It's that simple. And then you can also tell that your workout routine is working because if you're consistently getting 1 rep more than last week, another rep more than last week. Consistently, you know you're getting stronger, you know you're building muscle. So if you ever get to a point where, right, I've been stuck on 8 reps for like a month now, what the fuck's going on? Maybe then it's time to change the exercise. Maybe that exercise is being limited in a certain way by different muscles, so you train that other muscle instead. So you can easily track not only that you're making muscle, but that your workout routine is working as well. And training this way just ticks every box. So have rep ranges for different exercises. So maybe compounds, you want less rep ranges, so a smaller rep range like 6 to 10. Maybe for isolation you want 8 to 12, and then even weak muscles like red out flies you want maybe 12 to 15, 15 to 20 reps in a rep range. That's perfectly okay for something that's not very stable, and that's just an easier way to progressively overload it. It's perfectly okay, and that makes training so much more simple. And then now you've actually improved your training, and you're training the right way rather than just turning up, doing 3 sets of 12, then going home. Now, we said about training for failure every single set. Now, you want to understand how many sets do we actually train for? And I literally keep this so simple. So, the general rule is 8 to 15 sets per muscle group per week. So, if you're training maybe 3 times a week, you'll want more sets and more exercises each workout. Whereas if you're training 6 times a week, you can then afford to spread those workouts out a bit, have less sets per session. You see how that works, right? Because you still need the same volume per week. So the golden rule, I'd say, is 8 to 15 sets per week. If you're a beginner, maybe start at the lower end, and then as you get more and more advanced, if you find that you enjoy it doing more sets, then you can add more sets in when you get more advanced, etc. But I always suggest starting off at that lower 8 to 10 kind of sets per body group per week. Per muscle group per week, sorry. So I'd always aim for that. So for example, on a chest day, maybe you do a bench press, you do a chest fly, and you do an incline. That's already 5 or 6 sets already. You do that twice a week, you're hitting the goal straight away. So stuff like that. So you need to lay out a training program where every single week you've got your exercises and how many sets you're doing. Now, I always recommend, if you ever want training programs, it's the first link in the description. We give you a plethora of training programs that are all scientifically proven to work. I use some of them that are in there as well, which, as you can tell, as an 18-year-old, clearly do work. And they're guaranteed to make you great results, so first link in the description for that. However, I always recommend 2 sets per exercise as a general rule. Just try and do 2 sets to failure, because any more like 3, 4, 5 sets for one exercise, you're just going to get overly fatigued, especially when you're training that hard and that intense. You're not going to be able to get that many reps of a decent weight out as you would do at the start, maybe with your first set, just because you'll be so fatigued. So I do generally recommend like 2 sets per exercise, and just do enough exercises that hit enough of that muscle group to get 8 to 15 sets per week. So for example, I'd never do more than 2 sets on a bench press, but I do another 2 sets of an incline and another set of chest flies to make 5 sets per week, and then I just do that session twice a week, so I'm hitting the 10 sets per muscle group per week. So you see how I'm still only doing 2 sets for exercises, but because I do other exercises to target the same muscle and then also do it twice a week, I'm hitting enough sets per week. You see how that works? And then you also want to talk about rest breaks as well. So I know how I'm training, how many sets I'm doing, how to progressively overload, how long do I take resting. I just kind of set up my phone usually. And I'd say there's a general rule for this as well. You want 3 to 4 minutes on isolation exercises. And isolation exercises are like, exercises like lat raises, tricep push downs, etc., where the only muscle you're training is the muscle that's working, if that makes sense. So for shoulders, for example, when you do a lat raise, the only thing that's working is your side delt, your shoulder. That's an isolation exercise because the only thing you're training is your shoulder. Whereas a bench press, for example, is a compound exercise. So even though you're majority training chest, you'll be hitting your chest, your shoulders, a bit of your triceps as well, for example. So you see how that's a compound movement. So for isolation movements, usually lighter isolation movements, I'd say 3 to 4 minutes of rest per set. And then for heavier isolation movements, so like a lat pull down where you've got heavier weight, or a row where your moving a lot more weight, having more rest, or for compound lifts where obviously you're going to be naturally moving a lot of weight because it's a compound, I'd say it's 4 to 5 minutes rest in between sets. You may say, whoa, that's a lot, but you're not waiting for yourself, you're not waiting for your muscles to recover, it's your central nervous system as well. When you do these hard grueling sets, like I said, that are excruciating and you're training to failure, your central nervous system tends to be able to wear out a lot. That's why when you go to do a back off set to a failure, you won't be able to get the same or maybe even nowhere near the previous set that you've got, just because you've just trained so hard previously that you only have maybe 60 or 70% of your like energy left over. Excuse me, bro. So it's your central nervous system that's getting tired, which is why it's so necessary for you to have such a long break. So again, 3 to 4 minutes for isolations, and then I'd say 4 to 5 minutes for compounds or heavier isolations where you're moving a lot more weight. Just use your intuition, and during sets, just see how you feel. Like, right, I feel rested now, and I've had the required amount of time, great. If you had the required amount of time and you still feel a bit exhausted, take another minute or two. Listen to your body. No general rule is ever going to be perfect. You need to be able to have the intuition to listen to your body. And the more that you listen to your body, the more you'll improve in your sessions. You'll be more rested, you'll feel more energetic, you'll be able to get more reps out of yourself, which will build muscle. And that's how you're improving your workout routine. Now I want to go into form perfection. Now, it's hard to describe form to you. You need to get really, very, very, very good at form. A great way to do that is my product in the link in the description. We have an entire module based on how to perfectly execute every single exercise that will be in the workout routines that we provide as well. So if you're ever struggling with the form, you feel like it's awkward and you're not doing it right, I understand that feeling, bro. Like, trying to do a new exercise and not knowing how it's done will not only not get you great gains because you're not doing it properly, but you also feel embarrassed. And you're like, everyone's watching me do this exercise really bad and I need to learn how to do it. So if you want to escape that embarrassment, if you want to escape that judgment, top link in the description is exactly where you're going to find all the great form tips to every single exercise. If not, completely understand. But you need to search up form, guys, whether that be on YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is. You need to be able to get familiar with the form of every single exercise, because that's how you're going to truly hit each muscle effectively and properly. Reduce the risk of injuries, so you're not going to be able to miss any sessions due to injury. I've not had a single proper injury from the gym in 3 years, because I do form well under controlled repetitions with a purpose, with an intention, and that way I don't get injured. I think the worst I've ever had is a bit of wrist pain, and that was from not even the gym, that was from being shit at golf. Fucking keep hitting the floor, bro, and my wrist just absolutely die. So I definitely recommend, if you want to improve in an area of your fitness, to improve your workout routines, definitely read into form and tempo of your exercises. Slow on the way down, maybe a little pause, and press over good form. It's that simple. And finally, if you want to improve, like I have recently, is taking into consideration emotional frequency. This is my example with pre-workout, for example. I've recently started taking pre-workout and I've seen a massive, huge increase in just energy and emotional frequency overall, because I just feel more alive. I feel heightened arousal. And this is great. You've ever heard the story of like people saying like mothers can lift cars of their children because of like the fight or flight psychological phenomenon? Obviously that's an extreme example, but it's exactly the same like that in the gym. The better arousal, the higher arousal you've got from whatever source it may be, maybe that's pre-workout, maybe it's even a training partner who's screaming in your face, maybe it's from having an energy drink, etc. The more heightened arousal you're going to get, the better mood you're going to be in to lift. You're going to be more likely to push yourself to failure. Go get another rep, go get another rep. You're going to feel more motivated for that set. This is why so many people get heart rate gains, because their heart rate puts them in a heightened arousal level that then they're able to push themselves further and further to the one they would do normally when they're not really feeling like it, you see? However, you don't have to be heartbroken for this. You don't have to be in a negative emotional frequency. You can just be hype in general. And you do that through two main ways, which is pre-workout, which we've already talked about, obviously. If you do pre-workout right before, I'd say put it in water, and I usually do my warm up, and I drink it as I do my warm up, so then it sets in for my first top set. Or a training partner. And a training partner kills two birds with one stone. I've talked about a training partner loads on my channel before. But a training partner with someone that's shouting at you, someone that you've got to hold accountable to, will not let you not push yourself to absolute failure. So don't ever look over a training partner. I know everyone's really, really quick to say, like, oh, I love training on my own. I don't even know, lone wolf or whatever the fuck they say. It's a cope. It is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You will always be more consistent, happier, work harder when you've got a partner with you. They will increase your arousal, they'll hold you accountable, all these different things that will make you push further and get more gains out of it. So if you're looking to improve your workouts, consider going with a friend. Consider going with someone that you don't want to let down. Maybe that's even your father. You don't want to embarrass yourself in front of your father, so you'll push as much as possible. And that way, you're going to make more gains. It's that simple. Honestly, making gains is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And the quickest way that you're going to be able to get that is by my top link in the description. I think it's the best product that I've genuinely ever made. Increasing my skill in fitness and building a good physique has improved my life in every single realm, every single area. And I just want that for you. And I'm glad that I'm able to curate my knowledge in the most meticulous way possible in order to be able to construct a great program just for you. You're going to look at this program and you'll be like, damn, this seems like it's been made for me. And that's because you're a similar person to me with similar aspirations and similar goals. And I've been in your situation and I know how to get to where you want to be. And that's why I think it's so valuable. It's going to improve every single area of your life. And it's genuinely one of the best products I've ever made. So if you're interested in building a great physique in the shortest amount of time, go get my product, bro. You will not be mistaken. You'll honestly, absolutely love it. And I can't wait for you to make the progress that you've always wanted.